What is one UFC fight not announced right now that you hope happens in 2025? The UFC is done for the year, guys, so we're getting a little creative with the content. As you can see from my video I posted the other day about predicting the pay-per-views for 2025. We got all types of different, kind of playing around with the formats and different types of ideas for videos. With the UFC being over for the year, we don't have topical things to talk about unless Conor gets accused of something else, or Jones, but basically, we're playing around a little bit with these videos. This is 10 fights that I hope happen in 2025. I'm Wyatt, and this is Fight Society. All right, guys, so before we get into the video, please make sure to like, subscribe, drop a comment down below, all that good YouTube stuff. It really helps me out a lot. If you want to support the channel further, become a channel member down below, get access to bonus content. There's a link in the description of this video, or click the join button on our channel homepage. Thank you very much. Back to the video. Okay, so there's a few fights. I'm going to give you guys 10 fights that I want to see in 2025. These are fantasy fights, some rumored, some the fans have been talking about, and some of these are just like made up potential matchups. So here are 10 fights that I want to see in 2025. Number one, the most obvious fight that all of us want to see in 2025. Jon Jones versus Tom Aspinall, heavyweight champ versus interim heavyweight champion. Possibly Jon Jones's toughest test of his career. Possibly the second biggest fight in UFC history behind Khabib and Conor. And I think that the winner of this fight, fighting Alex Pereira, would possibly be the biggest fight in UFC history. Think about it. It would be Jon Jones overcoming the one guy that everybody said was going to beat him, or said was the guy to beat him, going up against the face of the UFC right now, Alex Pereira, or Tom Aspinall beating Jon Jones, the best of all time in a lot of people's eyes, going to fight Alex Pereira. So there's two great storylines. Whoever wins that fight, Pereira versus the winner of Jon Jones. So the first fight I want to see is Jon Jones versus Tom Aspinall. The second fight that I want to see would be Alex Pereira against Jon Jones. I'm fairly certain that Jon Jones would absolutely dominate Alex Pereira and submit him in the first round or two, but the fight does start standing. And that's something that just makes me want to see it. Can Alex defend a takedown and land a big left hook? Can Alex find that flow state like he did against Khalil Roundtree and just put a barrage of really hard punches, knees, kicks on Jon Jones? How would Jon Jones stand up to that? How does Alex Pereira look at heavyweight? Does he hit even harder? There's so many questions that make me want to see that. And the same questions work for Tom Aspinall versus Alex Pereira. Same thing. That's what makes me want to see those fights. The triangle, the little fight triangle we have of Pereira, Jon Jones, Tom Aspinall, all of those potential matchups are very, very interesting. And that's what I want to see the most in 2025. The three fights, or it would be two fights, but combination of those three fighters. Moving on from there, the fight that I want to see, which I'm very not so hopeful is going to happen at this point, especially after the allegations, Conor McGregor's return. Maybe against Max Holloway, Charles Oliveira, Michael Chandler. Maybe that fight gets rebooked again. But it is the biggest star in the history of our sport, one of the biggest celebrities in the world. And obviously, if he can get it together and he wants to fight, I want to see Conor McGregor fight. As much as you guys talk shit and call me a Conor dick rider, as much as you guys say that he's never fighting again, you can't tell me that if Conor versus Chandler was to get announced, you guys wouldn't be pumped. You can't tell me that. You'd at least be like, okay, let's see it. At least at the very minimum, you would say, okay, I'm excited to see if Conor pulls out. Stuff like that. Moving on from there, the fifth fight, the fifth dream fight that I want to see in 2025, Dricus du Plessis coming off of a win against Sean Strickland later in the year. In my opinion, he's going to beat Sean Strickland later that year. DDP versus Khamzat. Hold Khamzat out until then. Don't give Khamzat a chance to lose, and he doesn't like to fight that often anyway. And the Saudi Arabia event in February already has Adesanya as the main event. So I think you do Khamzat, hold him out for DDP, or at least just the winner of Strickland and DDP. I think it's going to be DDP. And DDP versus Khamzat Chimaev is one of the most anticipated possible fights for me, behind the big stars, obviously, Pereira, Jones, McGregor, stuff like that. Moving on from there, the next fight that I want to see in 2025 that's not announced, I think it makes a lot of sense to be both guys' retirement fight. I named this as a potential main event for UFC 313 in March. If you watched my predicting 2025 pay-per-views video the other day, Poirier versus Gaethje 3. Dustin Poirier, Justin Gaethje, trilogy, banger fight. Two of the bigger stars in the company that have never been undisputed champ. They fight, they both retire. Everybody goes home. Fantastic pay-per-view. Throw a sick co-main on it, and that's a good card. The next fight that I really want to see is Sean O'Malley's bounce back from his loss to Merab. Now, I think it would be cool to see it against Corey Sandhagen. That would be like a striker's delight seeing those two guys. But I have a feeling they're leaning towards doing a Peter Yan O'Malley rematch, 5-round pay-per-view co-main or 5-round crowded fight night main event, something like that. So the number 7 fight that I want to see is how Sean O'Malley bounces back from losing his belt. Now it's like time for Sean O'Malley to actually respond to adversity. You know, he arguably got a gifted decision win over Peter Yan. He fought a rushed and not totally ready Aljamain Sterling, and then he fought Cheeto, and then he lost to Merab, who was the actual number 1 contender that deserved the fight. Now that he's coming off of a loss, I think O'Malley's like UFC privilege is definitely diminished severely, and we're going to have to see him win a tough fight if he wants to get back in the title picture. This will determine the rest of Sean O'Malley's career because they've hyped him up to be such a star. If they could get him a win, that would propel him back towards the belt. They'll put him back in for the belt like right away. Like the winner of O'Malley's next fight, if O'Malley fights Peter Yan, the winner of that fight will fight the winner of Umar and Merab. So Sean O'Malley's bounce back from losing the belt to Merab Dvalishvili is the number 7 fight that I want to see this year. And moving on from there, the number 8 fight that I want to see in 2025 is Leon Edwards against Carlos Prates. Now, I think that that's just for some reason this matchup like speaks to me. Maybe do it as the main event in March. I think it's March 22nd. They're at the O2 Arena in London. Leon Edwards versus Sean Brady has been rumored. I don't care if Sean Brady's way higher in the rankings than Carlos Prates. The fans would really get up for a Leon versus Carlos Prates main event. Carlos Prates already did a training camp for a 5-round fight, which was the Neil Magny fight. Leon versus Carlos Prates would be a sick fight. Moving on from there, number 9. I doubt this one happens because I think Islam Makhachev is going to move up at some point. But the number 9 fight that I want to see would be Ilia Topuria moving up to 155 to challenge Islam Makhachev for the 155 title to see if Ilia Topuria's power carries to 155. Can he out grapple or at least match Islam's grappling? I think those are both very, very intriguing questions that would be answered in that fight. Topuria is not a very tall guy. Can he hang in there against a very big lightweight in Islam Makhachev? How does Ilia Topuria do when he doesn't have a huge power and weight advantage in the cage like he does at featherweight? I think that's a really, really good fight, but I doubt it's going to happen. And the reason I doubt it's going to happen is because the number 10 fight that I want to see next year is actually something that I very much see happening, and that is Islam Makhachev versus Shavkat Rakhmonov. If you saw my video a couple days ago predicting the 2025 pay-per-views, I said that I think Islam's going to beat Arman, and then he's going to move up to 170 to challenge the winner of Belal and Shavkat. I think that Shavkat is going to win the fight against Belal when they do fight, and then I think Abu Dhabi next year, pay-per-view, October, Islam Makhachev moving up to challenge Shavkat Rakhmonov for the welterweight belt. That would be such a sick fight. The grappling, who's tougher? How does Islam do when he's fighting a bigger guy? How does Shavkat do against the quicker guy from a weight class down? Really interesting stuff. So the 10 fights that I want to see in 2025 that are either rumored or just me making something up because I want to see it. 1, Jon Jones versus Tom Aspinall, UFC heavyweight title. 2, potentially Alex Pereira versus Jon Jones. Or 3, Alex Pereira versus Tom Aspinall, like the winner of Aspinall Jones against Pereira. 4, McGregor return, obvious. I'd love to see him return. 5, Dricus du Plessis versus Khamzat Chimaev, UFC middleweight title. Can Khamzat's grappling and explosiveness outdo DDP's resilience and strength and all of that? 6, Poirier versus Gaethje 3, pay-per-view main event with no title on the line. They both hang it up after the fight. Sounds good to me. Number 7, Sean O'Malley's bounce back to losing the belt to Merab Dvalishvili. Could be Sandhagen. That'd be a fun fight. Could be Peter Yan. Either of those, a lot of fun. But how does Sean O'Malley bounce back when he's not getting such preferential UFC treatment? because he's lost and he's not the UFC champion. Number 8, random fight that I think would be a super sick main event and the fans would really get behind, Leon Edwards versus Carlos Prates. March 22nd, O2 Arena, London. Perfect. Number 9, which I don't think is going to happen, Ilia Topuria moving up to 155 to challenge Islam Makhachev for double champ status. And then number 10, something that I think is for sure going to happen as long as these guys both win their next fight, Islam Makhachev moving up to 170 to challenge then champion Shavkat Rakhmonov for the welterweight belt and double champ status, something that Khabib never did. So let me know your thoughts down below. What fights do you want to see in 2025 that are not already announced? I'm Wyatt. This is Fight Society. Thanks for watching this video. Please make sure to like, subscribe, all that YouTube stuff. It really helps me out a lot. If you want access to bonus content, become a channel member today by clicking the join button on our channel homepage or the link down below this video. If you're interested in some non-MMA content from me, go check out my podcast, What's Up Bro, with Wyatt and Bo, in the link down below. Go watch this suggested video, and I'll see you next time.